Now for the saving of the time, I have already created the file inside the Visual Studio Code, which is index.html, style.css and script.js file, and these files is also linked with this particular tag, that is link tag, and I have linked my style.css file. Also with the use of this script tag, I have linked my script.js file. Now also I have launched this particular project inside my web browser, which is Chrome browser, and you can see right now this is the application, which is Stopwatch timer application, and this is the final version of the application that we want to develop so that we can see and just type the style sheet code and also the HTML code. So the first thing is we need to actually wrap the entire code inside this particular white container, and inside of that we need to place the h1 element. Then these particular element, which is like a div element, inside of that we will be using the span elements. Then we need to place these buttons, and after that we need to place the another div. Inside of that we need to use these particular divisions, or you can say that the list tag we can use after creating the divisions. So we have a lot of things to do, so let's get started with it. So first I'm going to click on the our version of the application, which is the Stopwatch timer application that we are going to develop in this entire module. So the first thing is we need to actually create a container. So here I will be using a div tag. Inside of this div tag, I'm going to place the class name as container. And inside of this container, first element that I want to place is the h1 element. And the class of this particular h1 element is going to be title. And after that, inside of that, we need to place the title, which is stopwatch. So if I control save it, then you can see now the stopwatch timer heading is now appeared inside the web browser. Okay, so the next element that we want to place is the division element, so that inside of that division element we can actually place these particular three span tags. So let us start with this particular one. So the first thing is we need to create the another division. So here I will be using the div, and we need to specify the class name here to like stopwatch. Inside of the stopwatch we need to provide another div tag, and this particular one is going to have a class name called timer. Inside of this we need to first add a span tag, and the ID of this span tag is going to be like minutes, and then we need to here specify a 00 value. You can just simply click it here and duplicate it 2 more times. Then this particular one is for the seconds, and this particular one is for the milliseconds. Okay, and here we need to just remove this last one. If I will save it, then you can see now we get this particular format that we want for our application. Now the next element that we want to place is the controls. So we need to actually come outside of this timer division, and we need to remain inside this stopwatch division. Alright, so make sure you are inside this particular stopwatch division and need to be outside of this particular timer division. So here we need to create the another division. This is for the controllers. So I'm going to give the class name as control. So this is for the controls, and inside of that we need to place the button. So the first thing is button, and the first element is actually the start, and we need to provide the ID as start btn. Alright, and then we need to duplicate it into many times. So first I'm going to select by pressing the shift and alt key and down arrow key 3 times. Then you can see we create the 3 copies of the same code. Here we need to change the text. So the first thing is actually the stop. The third one we want is actually a pause, and the last one we need is actually the reset for the reset of the time. Also we need to change the ID name, so it is like stop btn. Then this one is going to be like pause btn, and this one is going to be like reset btn. If I control save it, then you can see we get our 4 buttons. Just like here we are having 4 buttons. Okay, so after creating the controls, the next thing is we need to create the divisions for the labs, which is for this particular one. So coming back to the our version of the application, and after the end of this control division, make sure you are inside this particular stopwatch division. So inside of that, make sure you are inside the stopwatch division, and I'm going to remove this container division spacing. So here we need to create the another division. It is like division, and inside of that we need to provide the class which is for the labs, and inside of this lab division we need to place the h2 element that has a class name which is of lab title. which is actually this particular title lap timer. So we need to place here a lap timer. Alright, and after that lap timer, we want to display the list of laps. So for that we need to use the UL tag for creating the list. That we are going to add the code, means we are going to update this list dynamically by using the JavaScript. So for that, here I'm going to specify the ID and the lap list. Alright, and here I will be adding a basic lap list time, which is lap 1, and I'm going to just simply here use like 01:43 or maybe 45. Alright, so this is for the laps, and now I'm going to remove the all extra spacing. So inside of this stopwatch division, we have created the first division, second division, and this third division. Okay, so that marks the completion of the code for the HTML part for this particular stopwatch timer application. So in the next part, we are going to start with the CSS part of this particular application.